This is my 1955 Canadian International 3-ton R184. As you can see from the images, it's not exactly a barn find truck. When I purchased it, it was located in a forest near Sussex, New Brunswick, where it had been sitting for the past 30 years, according to the owner and the license plate anyway. So I'm calling it my forest find truck. The story for this truck goes is that the guy I bought it from, who would have been in his 50s, used to drive it around as a child with his father, but shortly after they rebuilt the engine, it stopped working, and his father parked it in the woods on their property where it's been ever since. Now, his father passed him years ago, and now he's ready to part with the truck. This is the ad that was posted for my truck. Well, it wasn't my truck yet, but I messaged the guy almost as soon as I saw the ad, and we talked back and forth over the next few weeks, negotiating over price and delivery options. And at one point, I got out to see the truck, and I took a couple of photos. I told myself that as long as the frame and most of the cab was fine, then I would purchase it. And it was. Mostly. I mean, by Atlantic Canadian standards, this is pretty amazing for a 65-year-old truck. So eventually we landed on a price, and my truck was delivered on September 28th, 2019. This was the first time I got to walk around the truck on my own property and get a better look at it without all the trees and bushes and such in the way. The whole truck is covered in a coat of moss and 65 years worth of grime. It was registered as a farming truck when I purchased it, so I doubt that this thing has had an easy or clean life so far. Also, this is my dog, Lucy. She'll be around a lot. So it's a dually. It has a 2-speed electric rear end. So it has an electric shift cable, 6 volt, instead of vacuum or manual cable. Tires, surprisingly, are kind of okay. They're good enough to hold air for a few hours while I work on it. There's one fuel tank here. There's another one on the other side, which was routed through. So it has the original wheels. Again, I'm shocked that any of this holds any sort of air at all. So inside this door is a different color from that door. And the interior is a whole, I don't know if you can smell an image, but it smells pretty bad. It's pretty musty. And there's no headliner. Also, that window is missing. And our main windshield is cracked. That's okay. Let's gotta go up. Ooh, look at that. Oh, yum. That's our first walk around. Okay, so now I've got it all checked out. Next thing to do is I'm gonna clean it. I don't mind working in a little bit of dirt, but this is a bit much, it could be hiding a lot of damage. All the filth and such that's on there. So, pretty good reason to get it cleaned out. Really gonna, oh yeah, I think this is mostly, this is metal, yeah, this is mostly paint. Lots of flaking off. Yeah, see that guy's actually painted black. That was undercoated or paint or something. So hopefully, that's a ugly dents there. It'll give us a little bit better idea of what we're working with the body. For the frame, I haven't decided, to be honest, how much I'm going to really wash this. I feel like the layer of gunk that's on there now is almost acting as a protectant against rust and such, but I think I'm still going to give it a bit of a quick blow off. The rails are all full of like this shit. That's going to trap moisture in, so that's next. I'm not sure how well it comes up on the camera, but the truck is truly nasty. It's not just a layer of dirt that you can see, it's a layer of dirt that you can feel. I'm not worried about damaging any of the paint with the pressure washer because there are so many shades of red and green and even yellow on this truck that there's no way there's any original savable paint left. Here you can really see the difference between washed and unwashed. Other than my cell phone's automatic HDR setting, there's no editing done with this photo. That's just how much grime there was on there. And if you wanted a video of that, you're in luck. It's hard to run a 3000 PSI pressure washer one-handed, but I could sit there and watch that color change all day. I pressure washed my deck earlier in the summer, but it was not as satisfying to watch as this was. I don't have footage of all of it because of how difficult it was to film and also because of how wet the camera got, but you get the idea. I was actually quite nervous here before I cleaned the trim because I was worried that it might break or delaminate or even just fly off the truck, but thank God it didn't because I have no idea where I'd find another one of those around here. The gaps in the grill make it a little harder to see, but the right side has been cleaned and the left side is still untouched. And to make it just a little more obvious in this photo, I cleaned just a small patch on the bottom right to highlight the mess. This is also about the time that I realized the truck is roughly 4 inches taller now than it was when I saw it in the woods. And that's just because of how far it had sunk into the ground over time. This is the uncleaned passenger side of the hood, and this is the cleaned driver's side. The whole thing looks much better cleaned up, and I'm glad to say that I did not find any hidden damage on the body that I wasn't aware of before I started cleaning. So now that the outside is clean-ish, we can move on to the inside, and it is not super great in here. A lot of dangling wires. I think that probably all of the electronics are going to have to be redone. Actually, I know they will because this is a 6-volt system, as far as I know, unless it's already been converted. So yeah, now I can see right there what appears to be, I think that's part of a blower box. And actually, if I look under the dash, see that black guy right there? I think that's part of the blower, maybe? Again, not super familiar, or even remotely familiar, actually, with these trucks. Look at that little nubby right there. So I'm gonna get a garbage bag, and you know what, and a mask, actually. And we are gonna clear all that shit out of there. And then, hopefully for the first time, I'm going to get into the cab. I haven't even sat in the cab yet. This is about as far in as I've been. Shifter moves. I don't know if I can feel any engagement or not, but anyway, I'll bring you back in a sec. I had to mute this part because of music playing in the background, but you get the idea. It was about an hour and a half of pulling foam, fabric, and God knows what else out of the truck. The smell was terrible. And before anybody asks, yes, I did wear a mask with a filter. This is actually the only picture I have of the bench seat. It was held in by 8 fasteners on each side, and amazingly, I got enough of them out without the heads breaking that I could remove the seat without drilling it out from below. Which is nice, because the last thing this floor needs is more holes. It's already like 30% holes. With the bench seat removed, I can start vacuuming up all the smaller particulate matter, which is mostly rust, and some smaller foam chunks. You can see at the end I got a chunk stuck in the vacuum, and this happened a lot. It happened so much actually that while trying to dislodge them, I learned how to change the tone they made, and I played the musical vacuum for a while. It's for reasons like that this build will take way longer to complete than it probably should. Now, I also got the interior cleaned up, which was nice. The seat that was in there, that's him there, came out mostly okay. I got about half the bolts out. You can see on this side, there's one that did come out. There's one that did not. And then 2 more back here did not come out as well. So these ones, these just broke off when I lifted it up. This one I actually had to cut through. And then on the opposite side, you can't see it from here terribly well. They all came out on their own using the impact gun. It's nice. But now I can climb up now that I got it all vacuumed out. This is our view, complete with broken glass. Closer view of the dash. I'm not totally certain what everything does yet. Unfortunately, there is no key that came with this guy. Original owner was unable to find it. There's our fuel gauge, oil temp in the bottom right, oil pressure in the bottom left, and in the top right, very dirty, can't make it out very well. I believe that says amps. It does. So that's for your generator. This is a 6-volt system, so it has a generator, not an alternator. There's our speedometer, which is probably in miles per hour. This is a Canadian unit, but it's from the 50s. I'd also like to know 219,944. Now, is that 219,000 or 21,000? That last digit is often just a decimal point. I don't know. And there was something here at one time too. You can see the kind of the shadow it left, almost a rust-free spot. I don't know how long ago that would have been taken off. I didn't notice anything there when I looked at the track anyway. I'm not sure what should be there. I'll have to take a look online. And we've got wipers, throttle, choke, and something else. This one, I've taken a look close up. The little sort of washer type thing that went around there is long gone. So I don't know what that guy does. This is just blocked off vent. I actually have to be careful where I step because you can see there's some holes in the floor. Oh, other box. I've never put this up before to actually notice that. So this is the first time I'm seeing this text. All right, 2-speed axle electric shift. Right on. Okay, information about how to use the 2-speed rear end. Huh, genuinely useful. And down beneath that is your, not exactly your dual climate control. Let's see, heater, heat. I don't know what this guy is here. He's got like a recoil action. If I let him go, he bounces right back. And then underneath we have our blower motor. I believe that's what that is. I think this is part of that system right here too. See, this guy looks like he might belong. Oh, and the sunlight in there is killing me. There you go. You can kind of see some parts. There's also an aftermarket oil pressure gauge there. Makes me wonder if the one on the dash doesn't work. Wow, nothing works right now. I mean, look at that wiring. And I've done a little bit of looking around off camera. And that kind of wiring in there is present throughout. I think there's actually, it's actually speaker wire here on the floor. So there's all kinds of this sort of really shoddy stuff. Somebody pointed out to me, I was talking to, that this has farm truck plates in the front of it, which makes sense. It came from a farm. Well, I never noticed that I have visors. Look at that, I have visors. Huh. Those are right there. So this came from a farm, so the miles, it really might only be 21,000 miles on it, but they'd be farm miles, so you want to idle in and driving through woods and such. That's it. She's an awful lot nicer to be and all cleaned out. Okay. So if I take a second and open this up, which might be a two-hand job. Yeah, it doesn't stay on its own right now. But this is the motor. It is an inline 6 with, that's our steering box there, so manual steering, inline 6. I don't have a whole lot of information on it. If it's the original engine, and I'm kind of hoping it is, then it's probably Black Diamond. I think that's a 282. There's some numbers there. You might be able to read that better than me. I'll get that all cleaned off. We'll take a look. So it did run when it was parked, which was, by the way, in the 80s, according to the sticker on the license plate. But you can see the distributor wires are cut now, and there's nothing going to those spark plugs. The guy in the end is actually exposed there. My understanding was, although it ran, he said it, what did he say? That it slipped a rod bearing? So I think he probably means around the camshaft that one of those bearings had spun. So if I could find a rebuild kit for it, I would like to keep the original engine. Here she is from the other side. I don't think that's super likely though. And I didn't buy the vehicle intending to keep the engine, but it'd be a nice little bonus if it works out that way for us. So I'm going to clear that up and we'll see exactly what we're working with. Okay, so I was doing a little bit of looking around, trying to figure out which engine I had because they're not very well marked. And I've got the side of it all cleaned off. And there's one serial code. And I got that locked up. And then there's another one up here on the head. Just in the shadows there. Probably can't see that one well. and allegedly, so I thought it came with a 282 black diamond. It looks like this might actually be a 308 black diamond, possibly. I think the only difference, they're both inline sixes, is the length of the stroke. Unfortunately, I know didn't plan on being able to save this engine, but if we check the oil, I'll get a little pull on that guy there. Yeah, look at that. That is, come on, focus. That is not oil. Don't even think that's oil on the end. No, it's just rust. And so this tip of this guy, let's put this over somewhere focus, didn't seal well, I don't think, anymore. Yeah. So I'd like to say this was kept out of the elements. Get my finger in that shot. I thought the hood maybe would do a better job protecting it, but it has not. So that right off the hop, that doesn't look great for this engine. I mean, never mind the fact that the distributor's been cut off. Here's the coil there. Well, I did get underneath, and well, why don't we take a look? We'll see if the starter is still attached, and maybe we will also check the oil pan and see if there's anything in there, or maybe we'll just pull the whole thing out, since regardless it has to come out anyway. So I thought maybe while we're here, why don't we take a look at the oil. I know there's nothing that registered on that dipstick, I mean, unless rust is a lubricant. So I'm going to take this, see if I can't get that off the valve cover. I don't have especially high hopes of me doing this. Oh, and look at that, it came off. And we have, do we have dust? There's dust, okay. I don't know if you can see the rocker. I'll try to get it with sunlight. No. I can see a rocker arm. Just that though, just a rocker arm. There's definitely no oil of any kind in there anymore. Rip. It doesn't look good for this ever turning over again. There's her 6-volt generator there on the left. And our belt driving our fan. I think that's actually the only things that this belt drives. Here's the bottom of your crank is down there. The main pulley goes onto your fan and the generator, and I think that's it. I think that's all that runs. I say 10 to 1. 10 to 1 I end up going with the 12-volt electrical system anyway. You know, especially if I have to put a new motor into it, I'm not going to go with 6-volt. It's not like the wiring is worth saving anyway, right? You know, it's nice about a truck being this size. I can be at a creeper and slide my way under and don't have to jack it up first. But I do have to put on safety glasses. Turns out there's all kinds of rust. There's our rear end, 2-speed. Exhaust, which terminates right there. On the side of our frame rails, really everything is in, you know, the frame and stuff anyway is in surprisingly good shape. I'm trying not to give anybody vertigo. So let's look for that starter. So here's our flywheel. Put that in a way that you can see what's going on. Can't really, I'm a little too close. So look around this side, there's our oil filter, all close to our heads. I don't see a starter on this side. I kind of hoped I'd see it, you know, hanging off the bottom of the teeth here. I was hoping to find one right here, but I don't see them. Oh, what is that? That's not the generator, is it? That's a mighty thick looking power cable. I can actually see that better on the phone with my eyes. I think that's our starter. This should be our solenoid. And this, up here, it's got something written on it. What does it say? can't make that out. That's our star, I think. That's good. I had looked at it here quickly once before and wasn't able to find it. Look, our manifold is stamped. Never noticed that set of digits before. So that's good. It would at least turn over. Well, something to turn over with. If we ever decided to start it. So here's our oil plug, which I'm... What? Oh, okay. Apparently it's extremely loose. Holy shit. Wonder if I should give it a quick drain now. Open that up and see what's under it. If oil comes out of it, that would be a good sign. I could conceivably take the radiator off and crank it over by hand, send some oil up top. See if she runs. So I'll go to the oil pan. There's her drain plug, which I should not be able to undo by hand, but I can. Oh. Okay. Oh yeah. That is not oil. Wow. That is not oil. Okay. That explains the rusty dipstick, I guess, doesn't it? Oh, fuck. Well, there it is. There's our oil. Yeah. There's some kind of very, 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 very emulsified blobs in there. So water is lighter than oil, so it makes sense that water would come out first. And the oil would come out later on, but yeah. I think at this point it's a little bit moot. If there's that much water inside of our inside of the oil pan, then the crank, bearings, everything's going to be all rusted and fused together. So kind of confirms what we already knew, and that's that the engine is toast. So the next part of getting this truck to run, sadly, it's going to be taking that poor motor out. So that's it for the first video. I know it's a bit disjointed and all over the place sometimes, but this is the first video I've ever made, so I'm still learning how to film and edit. I'm also going to get a wider angle camera so that you can see what's going on a little more clearly. And if you have any advice or know anything important that I should know about these 184s, feel free to let me know in the comments. I can definitely use all the help that I can get with this. And if you wanted to see any updates on it, I'm already working on another episode removing the grill and the radiator. So if you subscribe, YouTube should let you know when the next one goes up in about a week or so. Thanks for watching.